Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're diving into something absolutely crucial for early literacy, Jolly Phonics Group 1. If you've ever watched a kid and wondered how on earth do they go from just babbling to actually decoding words on a page, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down this brilliantly structured system and see how it literally sets the stage for a lifetime of reading.
So, what is Group 1? It's made up of 6 very specific letters, S, A, T, I, P, and N. But, and this is key, these aren't just squiggles on a page. Together, they act like this interconnected toolkit designed to help children rapidly build phonetic awareness. By mixing sounds, really distinct physical actions, and catchy little songs, this multi-sensory blend creates deep cognitive pathways. It basically makes the totally abstract concept of reading feel incredibly tangible for early learners.
Here's our roadmap for This Explainer. First, we'll explore letters S and A. Then, we'll master T and I, and after that, discover P and N. Finally, we'll hit the quick revision stage and wrap up with the foundations of early literacy. Let's get into it.
Section 1, Exploring Letters S and A.
Okay, let's dive into this with our very first letter, S. Now, in this foundational stage, the focus is entirely on the pure sound. We're completely throwing out the traditional alphabet pronunciation of S. Instead, we're teaching the pure phonetic sound, which is just S, like a continuous hissing S. To really lock this sound in, the system uses this clever 3-step multisensory trick. Step 1, the sound is S. Step 2 is the physical action. You move your hand in a winding motion, like a slithering snake. Actually, try to visualize that right now, moving your hand like a snake through the grass. And step 3 is the song, The Snake is in the Grass, S. It's just a perfect way to bridge the gap between a physical motion and auditory learning. Once we've linked the sound and the motion, we anchor the whole shebang with vocabulary. Snake, sun, star, sock, sand. Repeating these specific words really cements that S sound through clear categorization. The child isn't just hearing some random noise. They're recognizing a pattern that already exists in the vibrant, everyday world right around them.
All right, shifting our focus over to the letter A. We want to maintain a really distinct rhythmic pacing here. We're introducing its core short vowel sound. So, not the long A sound, but the short, sharp ah, ah, ah. Once again, we look at that 3-step connection. Step 1, the sound is ah. Step 2, the action is pretending an ant is crawling up your arm. And step 3 is the song. Ants on my arm, ah, ah, ah. Seriously, imagine that physical sensation for a second. A little ant tickling its way up your arm while you sing the song. That deep kinesthetic connection, that's exactly what makes the sound absolutely unforgettable for a kid. And this slide brilliantly illustrates how we apply that ah sound across 5 really distinct visual words: ant, apple, alligator, axe, arrow. By tying the physical memory of that crawling ant to these visual objects, the brain is building this web of associations. It makes recalling the ah sound practically automatic. Moving on to Section 2, Mastering Letters T and I. So let's see how tackling our next pair, letters T and I, builds out this toolkit. What's fascinating here is that the physical energy required to master these 2 new sounds is entirely different from the slithering snake or the crawling ant we just did. For the letter T, the sound is a super crisp t, t sound. And the action? You pretend you're in the stands watching a tennis match. You're moving your head left and right, following the ball. Then the song goes, watch the tennis game, t, t, t. It's this brilliant little mini-story. That subtle side-to-side head movement mimics the rhythmic, bouncing t, t, t sound perfectly, syncing up the body's rhythm with the vocal rhythm. Next up is the letter I, with the short sound I. Here, we bring a character named Inky the Mouse to life. The action is pretending a tiny mouse is just running frantically up your arm, and the song is, Inky Mouse is my pet, I. Notice how the physical action of a frantic little mouse makes that sharp, quick I sound physically resonate. It's so clever. Let's connect all this back to the vocabulary. For T, we have tiger, tap, tomato, tree, toy. For I, ink, insect, igloo, Indian, inside. These 10 words reinforce the sounds we just learned. And this is exactly why these foundational associations matter so much for early comprehension. They literally turn abstract symbols into concrete spoken realities. All right, section 3, discovering letters P and N.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the direct contrast in physical energy. Think back to the letter T for a second. It was a subtle, seated head movement, right? Watching a tennis match. But as we transition into our final letters, specifically the letter N, we're moving from subtle observation to full body, arm stretching, high energy participation.
Let's look at P first. The sound is a plosive P. The physical action here is leaning in and blowing out candles, and the song just guides that breath. Puff, puff, puff. This mini narrative of blowing out puffing candles is pure genius because the physical action naturally and forcefully expels the air required to correctly pronounce the P sound. You literally can't do the action without making the right sound. And then we have the letter N. The sound is N. The action? You pretend an airplane is flying by, stretching your arms wide out to your sides. The song is Here Comes the Aeroplane. I encourage you to literally stretch your arms out right now like an airplane. Feel how your chest opens up to sustain that continuous auditory experience. It is so immersive.
To lock in P and N, we look at their vocabulary words. P gives us pig, pen, parrot, pizza, pumpkin. N gives us nest, net, nose, nut, nurse. Once again, these are everyday, child-friendly objects that just ground those energetic physical actions into practical, usable language.
Okay, section 4, the quick revision stage. Let's rhythmically read through this satisfying, at-a-glance summary table. We've got S saying S, A says ah, T says t, I says I, P says p, and N says n. Hearing them back to back like that distinctly separates each vocal sound. It really highlights the incredible contrast between them, and honestly, it shows just how much phonetic ground we've covered with just 6 letters.
Finally, Section 5, Foundations of Early Literacy.
So, the methodology leaves us with one crucial piece of advice. Practice the sounds every day. The physical actions, the catchy songs, the visual letters, they're all brilliant tools for sure. But daily practice is the true cognitive glue. That's what binds these physical and auditory elements together permanently in a learner's mind.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Knowing this multisensory process, what is the hidden architecture of the words we use every single day? It's kind of mind-blowing to realize that the complex linguistic comprehension we all rely on as adults was, at its very foundation, built upon silly songs, invisible crawling ants, and simple physical actions. So keep that in mind the next time you read a simple sentence, and ask yourself, how much of our adult world is built on the playful foundations of childhood?